Linda McAvan, Labour MEP for Yorkshire and the Humber. The government has announced it's going to review plain packaging, or what it calls plain packaging for cigarettes. What's your reaction?
Well, I'm very pleased. I've been calling for it for a long time and was very disappointed a few months ago when they said they wouldn't do this. We've got all the evidence, and my view is we should do it now. And in fact, in the European Union, I'm working on a law at the moment in the European Parliament to actually bring forward the kind of uniform packaging that the government's talked about. And our law will be a step to help the government get the uniform packaging in Britain as well.
As you mentioned there, you've authored a report that the European Parliament has supported that calls for 65% of packaging front and back to contain medical warnings. Just explain what that could look like and how that's kind of different to what the government want, but maybe a step in the right direction?
Yeah, I mean, we often hear people talking about plain packaging and people think it means a white package. This is a plain package. A plain package means a standardised or uniform package where the majority of the pack is covered in warnings and health warnings and pictures. And we've agreed already at European level that 65% of all packs in future will have these warnings on. The branding of the company would be here in the colours of the companies, and that all 28 European countries have signed up to this. We're finalising the law at the moment. Now, if we look at an Australian package, a fully standardised package, the difference is that the branding is in a neutral colour, so you can't use the colours of the company. You put the name of the company. But that's what we're talking about when we talk about. Well, people don't call it plain packaging anymore because that caused confusion. We're calling it uniform or standardised packaging. So the new law that we're negotiating here will mean across the whole of Europe, 28 countries, 65 big warnings like this. But the law will also very, very importantly allow the UK government to go that one step further and make sure this is not in the company's colours. And that's the difference between the two proposals.
I mean, at the end of the day, do you think that your law has pushed the government to take this step, or at least have a review into deciding whether to take this step? Do you think that it's made all the difference, that the pressure coming from here in Europe?
I think so, because what's happening in Australia, of course, is the Australian government. It's been taken to court by the tobacco companies, and tobacco companies want to pick off individual governments one by one, take them to court, cost a lot of money, delay. When you've got 28 countries acting together, it's much more difficult for the tobacco companies, and the governments feel much more confident that they will win the case, and the tobacco companies understand the huge determination of health ministries across the whole of Europe to do something about it. And so our measure, I'm sure, it provides a framework and also gives the government, it's only one extra step. It's not going from nothing to big packages. It's one more step on top of what we have agreed here already, and I think it's exactly the right way to go, and these measures will stop a new generation of smokers from being recruited. 570 young people every day start smoking in Britain. That's a lot of young people, and that's what we've got to stop happening.
And that's what I wanted to turn to lastly, is the health aspect of this. How important do you see plain packaging or standardised packaging as being to stop smokers or people taking up smoking in Yorkshire?
Well, we know from the research done by Cancer Research UK and other health charities that young people are affected by the boxes. When they look at them, they get an idea of the kind of person a smoker is. We know that tobacco companies spend millions and millions of pounds developing packages targeted at young people. So they care enough, the tobacco company, to lobby like crazy against this measure, which means it matters to them. They know it helps recruit young smokers, and that's why we need to be tough on it, because our top concern is, of course, the health of our young people and the future stops future smokers becoming heavy smokers.
And you mentioned that the MEPs have already voted here on this idea of 65% of packaging containing these warnings. Those negotiations are now underway with ministers. How hopeful are you of seeing a new European law result from this before too long?
Well, we've got intensive negotiations over the next 3 weeks and then up to Christmas, and we're hoping that for Christmas we'll have a new European law on this kind of standardised packaging across the whole of the European Union.